Hi there, and welcome to another one of my classic reviews where I pick one of my all-time favourite movies, give it a rewatch and then come review it. And in this video I'm going to be talking about Rosemary's Baby. So because Halloween's coming up soon, I'm going to look at some horror films in my next 3 classic reviews, and I'm going to start off with Rosemary's Baby, which is one of my favourites. It comes from 1968, it's directed by Roman Polanski, and it's one of those films which is incredibly eerie and well made for its era. It comes from the late 60s and horror movies are basically just seen as B-movie schlock. And Rosemary's Baby is actually a really artistic, really well made, well executed, properly mature horror film that isn't just relying on cheap scares. It genuinely is very psychological, it's very creepy and very, very eerie. It's a film of hysterical horror at times. It's a film which is very much a descent into something that we can't control and a descent into something that is genuinely creepy. It touches on all sorts of fears and plays with ideas about the modern world versus the traditional ways. It plays on ideas to do with religion, and it plays on ideas to do with pregnancy and childbirth. It plays on a lot of things which we struggle with in real life, and it does so in this incredibly quiet, slow burning, controlled and tense manner. There's a big aspect of Rosemary's Baby which is to do with modernity, which is to do with the modern world. The lead couple start off young and free and happy, and this is the 60s, this is the era of change. And throughout the film, they get embroiled in the events of older characters who are seemingly pushing more traditional ways that reject modern advances. They reject pills and medicine in favour of herbs with magical properties. There's a sense here that the film is either critiquing the older generation and their kind of worldview of tradition and the old ways, or perhaps a critique of the younger generation, a critique of this world which is rising up where they've found new horrors in a modern world. They've discovered a world which is a supposedly benign existence, but the old problems still remain. There's an idea somewhere in here to do with religion, which is quite crucial. We see the infamous Time magazine cover in Rosemary's Baby, the one that said, "Is God dead?" Because at this point in the 1960s, there was a rise of intellectual and academic discussion in the mainstream, in the mass media, about the rise in secularism in Western society, especially in American society. And I think this kind of plays a little bit in Rosemary's Baby, because the villains of the film, the people who are ultimately satanic and pagan, they actually talk at length in times in certain scenes about their rejection of religion and their rejection of God. And so there's a sense that perhaps it's a critique of the godless world that has begun to rise up in America. The rejection of God, the rejection of what society gets from religion. And so perhaps metaphorically this is finding like the pagan rot at the heart of society. It's conflating the secularists with the satanic, which I find intriguing as an idea. I think the way that Rosemary's Baby tackles the way modern society is changing and the way that religion has moved on from what it used to be quite interesting, because in this world religion plays a big part. There's obviously the cult-like figures of the villains, but their whole world is hidden beneath the benign modern existence of the characters. There's other things here which are fascinating as well. Another aspect that makes Rosemary's Baby so intriguing is the use of paranoia. It builds on the idea of paranoia and cults. From very early on in the film, it opens with a dream-like happy music, but the music's also quite ominous. We know something's coming. In fact, the entire film, you know that something's going to happen. We know there is evil lurking amongst this strange world. Throughout Rosemary's Baby, there's always a sense that something is wrong and everybody knows about it. The entire film is so tense. It makes trivial events tense because we don't know whose side anybody is ever on. It's a film which is really, really slowly turning the cogs of paranoia, and it's a film which on first viewing kind of slots into place later on, but on repeat viewings you really understand all the deception that goes on in Rosemary's Baby, and all the layers of deceit and all the lies and all the little hints that slowly build up throughout the film. There's also just the way that the film is made. It's quite bold for a film from the era, considering Hollywood is always conservative, especially so way back in the 60s. And this film openly tackles more sexual topics. It openly tackles things which are something which you'd see more in European cinema as opposed to Hollywood cinema. I think that might be Polanski's influence on the work. The main character Rosemary embodies a lot of fears that people naturally have. Obviously there is a strong fear of paranoia which people often get, which obviously she ends up being hysterical in the film, and we gradually get hysterical too, watching her slowly become hysterical because it feels like everything is enclosing around her in this giant conspiracy. But she also is someone who feels the fears that many people have regarding pregnancy. Whether you can raise a child, whether your child will be protected, you feel like you're the only person who can protect your child, you feel like you don't want anything to happen to your child. Rosemary is so happy to be pregnant. She really wants a child, and the film opens with a series of scenes that show her as having quite a happy life. She's happy in the life. She gets the apartment she wants, she decorates it as she likes, she gets the child she wants, or so she thinks she's going to get. And then the film plays with this. It draws an idea that she's scared something's going to happen to the baby, that someone's going to hurt the baby. She's scared that her pregnancy is going wrong because she's in pain. She's scared that everything doesn't match up, and just the film just really plays with fears that a lot of people genuinely get regarding children. I mean, the fear of children is something that horror films have always played with. The idea that you could harbour or create something that's evil is something that so many classic films have drawn upon, and so many classic horror films rely upon, because it is a genuine fear. Rosemary's Baby is one of those early movies that really draws on it, and is fantastic. The film really shows us Rosemary's fear quite literally, in a way of her fear that her child will be evil, and that is something that I think is really scary. The film also makes Rosemary start off strong, but she becomes weak, and also she begins to look weak because she gets a very short haircut, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but in the context of Rosemary's Baby, when she begins to cry to herself in certain scenes, when she begins to like huddle over and be afraid and be worried, the fact that she looks so much thinner and so much smaller makes her look so much weaker and vulnerable and fragile in this world which is slowly enclosing around her in a conspiracy and in a terrible web of deceit. Rosemary's Baby is genuinely quite eerie and creepy and a bit terrifying. It's a film which draws on a lot of really crucial ideas of what modern life is, ideas of what religion is in the modern world, ideas of what evil you can bring into the world, ideas that we can all kind of relate to in this world, and ideas that everyone can kind of get into and really feel themselves. And so because of that, it's an incredibly effective horror film, and will forever be an incredibly effective horror film. And right now there's kind of a trend in some films to even copy plot points of Rosemary's Baby. I'm thinking of modern horror films like Mother and Hereditary, which definitely share aspects of Rosemary's Baby in terms of their plot, and I definitely think that its influence can't be understated. But at the same time, there's nothing quite like the original, and Rosemary's Baby is always going to be a horror film worth revisiting and worth checking out if you haven't already seen it. So if you have already seen it, I would love to hear your opinions on it, so please leave me a comment. If you like this review, please give it a like. If you want to hear more of my reviews, you can subscribe. If you want to read more of my reviews, you can follow me on Letterboxd or Twitter, links in the description. And thank you for watching.